Hi, my name is Bhanu Prakash. I'm having around 10 years of experience, 10 plus of years experience in Oracle technologies as well as Java technologies. In today's session, we are going to see about Swagger Actuator in Spring Boot 3.5. Okay. Basically, the Swagger is used for API documentation, as well as by using the Swagger, you can test your endpoints for the various operations like put, get, etc. We will see more information on this. And the next one is the actuator. Actuator is used for monitoring your health conditions of your endpoints. Okay, whether the service is up and running or not, and also you can see the different metrics, what are and performance, and also the thread dumps. We will see with an examples and how. So what I have done today is, yesterday I have just shown you a simple Spring Boot application like a hello world, but today we will see a little bit like a more operation where we are taking the example of the customer, and we will see this is as of now today I am taking as a non-based database where I'm just adding into the error list, adding the customer, getting the customer, different operations like CRUD operations of the customer related. Before that, let me see what is the use of the Swagger and actuator. Okay, so this is the agenda. Understanding the API documentation and application monitoring. So we are going to learn about the Swagger concept, actuator features, integration, and best practices. So Swagger concepts, what is a Swagger? Benefits of using a Swagger. Swagger implementation in the Spring Boot. Okay. Actuator features, actuator overview. What is the actuator overview? What are the main features of the actuator? Common actuator endpoints, enable and configure actuator. Integration, how to enable Swagger with actuator together. So first I will show both individual and how we can combine these two. Okay, and the demo, best practices, some of the best practices while implementing these features. What is a Swagger? Okay, it's an OpenAPI. Swagger is a comprehensive tool set for API documentation and testing that uses the OpenAPI specs to automatically generate interactive documentation. Basically, Swagger is used for whatever the documentation. If you want to prepare a documentation for UI endpoints, okay, like slash customer, slash order, add order, slash get order, etc. So for that, if you want to provide a documentation, so whenever you can see the Swagger, you will know what is that endpoint actually doing and what is the input, what are the error scenarios, if it is a success, how the output look like, and you yourself can try in the Swagger. So that we will see it. But this is the main. Swagger is a comprehensive tool set for API documentation and testing the use of the OpenAPI spec. API documentation automatically generates a comprehensive API documentation from code, annotations. Interactive UI provides a browser-based, okay, interactive testing interface for API. Code generation support the client SDK generate and serve stubs from the OpenAPI specifications. Suppose if you have a Swagger and you have defined the Swagger in the specs, from that you can actually generate code for that. So the base framework or the base skeleton code can be generated using the Swagger UI. Key benefits: eliminates the manual API documentation, creates a single source of truth of APIs. Why Swagger? Why we have to go for the Swagger? Streamline API development and documentation, eliminates manual documentation. Okay, automatically generates the API documentation from code, removing the need of manual updates. Clear API contract, creates a standardized contract between the front end and the back end teams. Interactive UI provides a Swagger UI where you can see all the documentation and test the APIs. QA testing enables QA teams to easily test APIs with pre-built interacts. JSON schema supports JSON schema validation for API request and response. This I was talking about. You can test, you can provide the different API and what is the request it is coming and the response for the success as well as the negative scenarios. Faster onboarding reduces onboarding time for new developers by providing a clear documentation. Swagger components, key elements that enable automated API documentation generation. Open API specs, standard and defining API contracts, available in YAML and JSON format. Okay, both it is available in your JSON as well as in the YAML format. Describes the what actually does. It provides what are the endpoints you are using and provides a documentation for the endpoints and what are the different responses it is has. For example, 200, how the response will look like, and also if it is the different, how the your response will look like. Swagger UI, a browser-based interactive UI, allows testing for the API endpoints. It's a very good feature. Let me assume that I have a Swagger, and based on your endpoints, you can get the positive as well as the negative scenarios. Okay, when I say negative, for example, it's down. Okay, so or a resource is not working. Okay, or a telephone validation is there in your API. So all those stuff, what will happen, or an exception has came. So how it is going to show, what is the error message it is going to throw, all those stuff. Auto generated from the annotations. Key annotations, API info, @ these are the key annotations which we will be using. We will see it. @ OpenAI definition, @ operation, method level docs, schema, model. Okay, whenever you talk about, for example, I have a customer, I have an employee. For those models, you can give the @ schema level. Spring Doc OpenAPI, starter dependency for Swagger, auto configuration component, simplifies the integration. Okay, Swagger dependency, this is a dependency, you can add it. Okay, for what you need. Swagger Doc API provides the automatic API documentation, includes Swagger UI for interactive documentation, compatible with the 3.5.x. Okay, so this is the dependency which you will be adding in pom.xml. Okay, to see the Swagger documentation. The next one is, these are the key endpoints. Swagger UI.html, where it will show all your endpoints and like get operations, different operations which you are using for your application, etc. Open JSON, here you can see that API docs, enter a docs, you can see documentation, YAML file and API specs in the YAML format. Okay. The next one is adding API documentation annotation. Here are some of the examples which I have given. If you want to add the controller level, you can say that customer API manages the customer operations like add, delete, CRUD operations, retrieve, etc. Method level, if you want to add that the method level, you can specify operation. This is a get operation, get the customer. For example, /customer/ID, where based on the ID, it will get the customer. And model level, this is a schema. For example, you have an entity, customer entity. Here you can, how it is defined. Example, here I have shown it. Schema descriptive customer entity, public class. For the variables, you can specify unique ID and full name. You can specify key points @ schema at the class level. Documents the purpose of the entity, @ schema at the field level. Describe individual properties, benefits. Then annotation help. Swagger generate comprehensive API documentation, include clear model description, field level documentation, interactive UI. Here is the little bit more example at the controller level. Here is a REST controller. You can specify the request mapping /customer, and here you can see tag customer API describes the customer CRUD operations. Okay, and here you can see /ID, where you are trying to fetch the customer information based on the ID. Okay, @ tag operation and path level variables. What is the actuator? Here we can see basically production related monitoring tools using the actuator, where you can see what is the health of your service, of the REST service. okay, and what is whether it's up and running, and also if you want to take the thread dumps, okay, and you can monitor it. Okay, different types of where we will see. Here are the definition. Spring Boot Actuator is a production ready monitoring tool that provides operational information about running application. It helps developers monitor and manage their application in production environment, enable observability, and provides insights into the application health metrics and environment details. Also, it provides what are the environment details which you have set in your application.properties, etc. Key features: application health. Health indicates that the database connection, disk space, etc. Metrics, performance metrics like HTTP requests, statistics, customer metrics collection. And also you can take the thread as well as a memory, thread dumps you can take, environment details in your application.properties. What are the variables you have defined? For example, application name, suppose there is a database connection, what is that URL you have given, any other properties which you have defined, all those stuff you can see. Thread and memory info, trace, HTTP trace, request, what are the HTTP request and response it's going, all those stuff you can see. Log levels. Why Actuator? Debugging assistance, helps in debugging issues quickly and detail error information. Production monitoring. Cloud integration, integrate with the cloud platform for seamless deployment and management. Enhance observability. This is the POM, how you will be adding the Actuator. Here you can see the pom.xml, and this is a dependency you will be adding in it. Okay, what this provides: application health metrics, REST endpoints. Okay, and here is some of the examples. Okay, enable all Actuator endpoints. Here is the in the application properties you have to specify this /Actuator. Always configuration properties, exposure base path, and health details. Common Actuator endpoints. These are the common things. Health, where you can see the health information, whether it is up and running. Info, application information, if you want to see, then you can say /info. Mappings, all the mapping routes. Actuator metrics, performance metrics, if you want to see, you can use this. /env, environment variables, and loggers, if you want to see, you can see it. Health endpoints, as I told, the health endpoints provides the application health information, including status and details about database connection, disk space, customer indicator and third-party services, database connection, disk space, customer health indicators, third-party servers health, all those information you can see. Custom info properties, configurations, here you can see this is what you can do either in the application dot properties or your YAML file. Suppose if you are using the YAML file, based on that you can change. Okay, and here /Actuator /info, Actuator plus Swagger. Now what we have done is we have seen what is a Swagger and what is the Actuator. Now what is the use case, or what is that combine, if I want to combine this two, what is the advantage I'm going to get? Integration approach showing how Swagger and Actuator can coexist in the same application without conflicts. Okay, so client Swagger boot apply, boot application. This is if you have configured both, this is how individually you can use. For example, if you want to see the Swagger, you can see Swagger UI.html and Actuator/star. Okay, both technology run smoothly together in the same application, no extra configuration. Endpoint is, this is a UI, how you can see both. Okay, architecture overview, here you can see client, okay, user application, Swagger UI, REST controller, what are the REST controller API, and the Swagger business logic. When it comes to the Actuator, monitoring layer, data client, and external services. Best practices: secure and effective implementation of Swagger and Actuator. Security consideration: disable sensitive Actuator endpoints in production. Okay, like configurations. Okay, all those stuff you don't want to expose in the production, so you can easily disable that. User role base for Actuator endpoint, you can implement the user, only the admins or whoever the proper permission should able to see this. Not everyone should able to see it. Implement proper authentication for the Swagger UI. Configurations, use proper API versioning. Okay. Configure Actuator base path carefully. Enable only necessary Actuator endpoints. Don't implement, don't give star, just give which are required. Other things you can comment it out or disable it. Documentation, provide comprehensive API documentation. Keep models and response consistent. Use descriptive annotation for APIs. Implementation, automatic API testing with Swagger. Use profile to control Actuator exposure. Integrates with monitor system. Summary. Okay. Here is the Swagger. Swagger provides the API documentation and testing capabilities. Generates interactive UI for API exploration. Creates a contract between front end and the back end. Reduces onboarding time for the new developers. Actuator provides product ready monitoring tools. Expose health metrics and environment info. Enables observability and distributed systems. Integrate with monitor tools for alerts. Okay. Both Swagger and Actuator are recommended for all microservice, providing documentation monitoring capabilities that enhance development effective and system reliability. Okay. This is what I have introduction on this Swagger and Actuator. Let me see with an example that will give more picture. So here I have written already have written a sample. Here you can see my application.properties, where Swagger I have just kept as an application name, and port, what is the port it is running, endpoints exposure. As of now, because this is my local and development, I am exposing everything, but in comes to the production, you will only expose the which are required. For example, you don't want to give the configurations, okay, etc., all those stuff. And always shows the, here you can see management endpoints show the health always. Management endpoints web exposure exclude, this I have given, and I don't want to include this. Heap dump, thread dump, HTTP trace, env, beans cache. Okay. Management endpoint web discovery enabled true. And next here is the POM file. Here you can see the dependencies which are required for both. Okay. Dev tools, this is the Actuator. Okay. And here is the web starter web and Spring Doc API. This is the one viewer for your Swagger. Okay. So these are the dependencies which you have to add. And here you can see as of now, this is the stable version which I am using, the 3.3.3. Okay. And coming to the code, so here is the main class where you can run. The next one is a customer controller. Here you can see basically here you can see the, just double click, let me open this. Here you can see the REST controller, request mapping / customers, and here is a tag where you are providing. This is a CRUD operations. What is this entire controller does? Descriptions API for managing the customer operation without the DB. As of now, as I told, for the demo purpose, I have taken where it's just storing in the array list instead of the DB. Here you can see, okay, hash map I have taken. Okay, get all, whatever it's converting into the array list, and this thing. And here this is the get all customer information, description fetch all the customer information, summary. This is the summary and the description. Summary is create customer and add a new customer in the in-memory store. Here you can see create. So if you see here, right, this I kept as a store and put, okay, like ID as well as your customer object. Okay. And if it is everything goes fine, I'll say okay. And here you can see you're trying to fetch get by ID, get customer by ID. You pass the ID. If you get, if the C is null, then you are throwing a valid not found, proper HTTP error. Okay. Else it will throw a okay. Here you can see update. Suppose if I want to update, first you will check whether that is there in the hash map. Okay, if that is there, return it, set those value ID. Here you can see store.put. Okay, The next one is the delete operation, delete customer, remove the customer from the in-memory store. So you can say store.remove, you pass the ID, automatically it just removes it. So these are the CRUD operations which are done on the customer level where you don't have a database. Typically we'll be using the database operations to store, but maybe in the next example I will show how we can do via Hibernate or JPA. Okay, more information. But this is just a sample which I want to show you about the REST controller. And let me see the customer also. Here you can see the Swagger, the customer description is the customer data model, customer operations. Okay, customer ID example 101, full name example, customer email address example.com, and this is the setters and getters. Okay, and let me start. Already I have started this application. Its application is up and running. Okay, and this is the POM file. This is just a customer application, customer controller, and the customer. And let me try to access. So here, this is how you can access it, Swagger UI. Okay, and here you can see. Here you can see these are the operations, whatever we have seen in the code. These are the 5 operations. For example, if you want, this is a customer by ID. Whenever you pass, it gets the customer by ID. Customers by ID. This is a put operation. Okay, delete. Okay, then get, if you want to get all the customers, and post. This is the all that post. Okay, post is if you want to create a new customer. Let me go and create a new customer here, and here is, you can try it yourself. Okay, where just I will show you. Okay, here you can see. Let me assume that I want to add a customer. So I'm going here. And here you can see that if you want to see the customer information, here you can see the customer data model for CRUD operations, and what is this ID, whatever the documentation we have written, string, unique customer ID, like customer name, full name, example it given. Let me assume that I want to create a customer. Okay, so what I'm doing is, this is a sample, might be I will change to sorry, you have to click on the try it out. So click on something like 103 Sai Ram or something. Here I can say Sai @ something, and click on the execute. If everything goes fine, this is the curl command. You can see the curl command how it is going. For example, post operation, this is the endpoint, and what are the headers you are passing, -h, and this is the raw data what you are passing here. And here you can see everything is success, and keep alive. And here you can say 200 code, that means everything is okay. And this is the response what I am getting. Okay, now let me see get all the customers and see. Try it out, execute, click on the execute. If everything goes fine, here you can see already previously I have added 101, 102, and recently which I have added, you can see here. So in this way you can see. And suppose if you want to see the API doc, here there is a link, v3 API docs. You can go here, click on this pretty point. Here you can see this is the endpoint URL, 1990, description, generate server URL, tags, customer API, CRUD operation, description, what is this it does, what is this operation does, pass customer /ID, CRUD operations, get the customer information, fetch the customer details, get by ID, and what is the parameters you will be passing. And this is the response. Okay, the next one is put customer CRUD API, update the customer. The next one is the delete customer, remove the customer from the in-memory space, delete operation, okay, and slash customers. Suppose let me assume that I want to delete, okay, maybe 102 or something. I want to delete, perform a delete operation. Let me try that. Here, this is the delete customer. Try it, click on the try it out. Suppose I want to delete the 102. Here you can see, okay, here you can see code 0. Suppose if I want to try something which doesn't exist. Let me clear. Two not 4. Okay. Suppose I want to get 103. Try it out. Here you can give 103. You can see here curl command 103, and you can see here, okay, 103. So in this way you can test using the Swagger UI. Now let me see the actuator. So here, just for example, your actuator, okay, here you can see this is the actuator, and he gives a list of it provides a list of the APIs where you can test. For example, if I want to check the health, okay, you can go here and check it. Okay, here you can see it's up. Okay, that means if it is up, then it will say that its service is up. Okay, in same way, if I want to get the info, if there is an info, you will get it. There is no information, and here you can see the loggers. I don't think I have implemented any loggers. Here you can see, okay, the root logger, everything. Okay, and if you see the customer, okay, here you can see info level, effective level is info, OP customer. This is, you can check here. Okay, so this is the in same way you can try all these levels. Okay, different actuator you can go and give here. Okay, a different actuator metrics. So I'm just hitting this metrics, and here you can see ready time, what is that, JVM, okay, HTTP request, threads, okay, the Tomcat session, all those stuff, it can give the name. Okay, all these metrics, and this one, the scheduled task, if you have any scheduled task, all those things, mappings, etc. These are the it can give more information, but few things I have disabled, if you see. Okay, so that's the reason you are only viewing this. So this is more of the actuator and the Swagger UI. Just I thought of giving with a simple demo, and hope this gives a good information on the Swagger and actuator. So I'll be adding more sessions. Maybe the next one will be how the Spring Boot, how we can do via JPA, and maybe I will show Hibernate also. So how we can do via the Hibernate, and what are the pain points we are facing. That not pain points, when you are doing with the Hibernate, you have to do more coding, but when it comes to the JPA, there is a, for those DAO layer, we don't require to do in this. And also Next, I will show how in real time the pattern. For example, application controller will talk to a service will talk to the JPA, and JPA is a DAO layer, data access object, which actually does your database operations. Mostly I will show you all those stuff. So that's it. Thanks for watching.